Raider Nation, the future of our team is about to take some major turns. With the NFL draft and free agency fast approaching, the decisions we make now will shape the next chapter of our franchise. From quarterbacks with sky high potential to key free agents that could make or break our defense, the Raiders are at a crossroads. So let's dive into who stays, who goes, and who we need to target to keep our silver and black pride alive. Let's get into it. The Raiders have their eyes on a promising quarterback, and the NFL Combine could be the turning point. Shedeur Sanders might be a name to watch, with the potential to land in Las Vegas at the sixth pick. But that's just one of the tough decisions the Raiders will have to make before the 2025 free agency. What's up, Raider Nation? It's great to have you here. If you're a fan of Raiders content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest updates. Now, let's dive right into the NFL Combine, which is always an exciting time for teams to evaluate potential stars. For the Raiders, the quarterback position is critical. There have been a few standouts at the Combine, with one name in particular catching their attention: Jalen Milroe. According to The Athletic, the Raiders were especially impressed with Milroe's performance. It's worth noting that Milroe was not alone in making waves. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers also got significant attention. Even Vin B mentioned that Milroe could be a perfect fit for Chip Kelly's system, though of course, reports like this can be hit or miss. But the fact that the Raiders are showing strong interest is a key takeaway. Milroe's NFL Combine performance was a bit of a mixed bag. He showcased impressive arm strength, especially with his deep ball. But there were also some moments that left questions. While his deep throws were solid, he struggled with accuracy on shorter and intermediate passes. There were too many times when his ball placement was off, forcing receivers to leap for catches or even miss the target altogether. It's clear that Milroe could improve his timing and ball placement in those critical moments. Another issue was his decision-making under pressure. He sometimes held onto the ball too long, missing windows where he could have delivered quicker throws, especially on slants or comeback routes. That said, I'm not going to judge his entire career off of one combine performance. With the right coaching, I believe Milroe has the potential to fix these issues and grow into a solid NFL quarterback. He's a bit of a wild card. His ceiling is incredibly high, but there's a risk with his lower floor. That's what might make some teams hesitant. But the fact that he's a dual-threat quarterback who can both run and throw with strength means there's a lot to work with. If the Raiders can put him in the right system and surround him with the right coaching, Milroe could turn out to be a game changer. If the Raiders can bring in the right coach who truly believes in him, I think Jalen Milroe could thrive. Imagine putting him in a situation where he has time to sit, learn, and develop for a year or two before stepping into play. That could be the perfect setup, not just for Milroe, but for any of these promising young quarterbacks. I'm really high on a few of them, including Milroe, Will Howard, and Jackson Dart. The key is that the Raiders can bring in a solid veteran quarterback to mentor them, helping them grow into the players they can be. If Milroe is still available in the second or third round, the Raiders should definitely consider grabbing him. It would be a smart move for the future of the team and the quarterback room. But what stood out to me at the Combine was Milroe's decision not to showcase his athletic ability, particularly not running the 40-yard dash. This was a bit surprising, especially since a lot of people are excited about his running skills. While it's not the end of the world, it would have been great to see him demonstrate his full potential to boost his draft stock. Now let's talk about Quinn Ewers from Texas. Hook 'em! As a Longhorns fan, I can tell you he's definitely a quarterback I wouldn't mind seeing in silver and black. Ewers had his ups and downs at Texas, but when you watch what he did at the Combine, you see the potential. He's got one of the cleanest throwing motions I've seen in the draft. Put him in the right system, just like Milroe, and he could be a solid starter in the NFL. If he's still available in the later rounds, he's someone the Raiders should definitely keep an eye on. Then there's Will Howard, who didn't exactly shine at the Combine. Reports suggest his draft stock is slipping, and that could actually work in the Raiders' favor. With the need for a quarterback, especially someone who's played in a system like Chip Kelly's, a dip in his stock could mean the Raiders have a chance to grab him in the third or even fourth round. That would be a huge steal for the team. It's interesting to note that Shedeur Sanders, who's also a highly talked about prospect, defended Will Howard. He tweeted, "I don't understand why y'all are hating on Will Howard. He just won a natty. It's hard to throw to receivers you don't know. Everyone runs routes differently." This is a good point, especially since Sanders chose not to throw at the combine himself. A lot of top quarterbacks avoid throwing at the combine because, let's face it, their game tape already speaks for itself. They don't need to prove anything more there, and Sanders has a valid reason for not participating. Now, while we're on the topic of Shedeur Sanders, there's some buzz that he could fall down the NFL draft boards. According to Tony Pauline, teams are starting to cool off on Sanders, and it's possible that the Raiders could be the ones to scoop him up at the 6th overall pick. Some reports suggest that Sanders' lack of improvement last season, combined with his decision not to throw at the Combine or the Shrine Bowl, are turning teams away. After reading that, I can't help but wonder, could Sanders be playing this whole thing strategically? Could he be intentionally trying to fall to the Raiders at number 6? Before the offseason kicked off, Sanders was seen as a lock to be one of the top quarterbacks, maybe even the number 1 or 2 pick. Now there's talk of him dropping because he didn't throw at certain events, and it's clear that he's staying calm and collected through it all. Since the combine ended, I've seen multiple mock drafts where Sanders is projected to fall to the Raiders at number 6, which is crazy to think about. But if he's sitting there at that pick and I'm the GM, I'm running to the podium to make that selection without hesitation. Sanders also spoke about his meeting with the Raiders at the Combine, sharing his excitement about getting to know Coach Carroll and the team. He even praised Raiders owner Tom Brady, saying that being able to have Brady as a resource is amazing. According to Sanders, Brady's experience at the highest level of the game gives him a unique perspective, and having someone like that to turn to is invaluable. It's clear that Sanders has a lot of respect for the Raiders and is genuinely excited about the possibility of playing for the team. If he's available at number 6, I think he should absolutely be the pick for the Raiders. While I don't know for sure if he will be the pick, if Tom Brady and Pete Carroll believe he's the future of the franchise, then the Raiders should make the move. There's been a lot of noise lately, with some people turning on Sanders, calling him overhyped, or even predicting he'll be a bust. But I believe that if the Raiders take a chance on him, place him in Chip Kelly's system, and build the right team around him, he could be a major success. If the Raiders are able to shore up the offensive line this offseason, it will help the quarterback position tremendously. Even if Sanders were drafted at number 6, I'd sit him for his first year. Assuming the team can bring in a solid veteran QB to lead for a year or two, what do you think? After seeing the NFL combine, would you want Sanders to fall to the Raiders at number 6? Who's your favorite quarterback in this year's draft? Drop your pick in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, let's jump into some breaking news. The Raiders have announced that they will not be tendering wide receiver DJ Turner, making him an unrestricted free agent. Turner has been a solid contributor since joining the team, especially as a special teams player. In 2024, he finally got more playing time as a wide receiver, recording 16 receptions, 58 yards, and a touchdown. Unfortunately, his season ended early when he missed the last 5 games due to injury. The Raiders are reportedly open to bringing Turner back, but only if they can work out a deal that's more affordable than what the tender would have paid him. Personally, I think Turner adds good depth to the receiver group, and I'd love to see him return. He's been solid as a special teamer, and while we haven't had the quarterback situation that would fully highlight his skills, I believe he still has value to offer. As for his market, I'm not sure there will be a ton of teams eager to sign him, but I could be wrong. We'll see what happens once free agency opens. Next, let's talk about the Raiders' free agents and who the team will need to bring back for next season. We've already seen Isaiah Pola's return, which is great news for the team. With the second most cap space heading into the offseason, the Raiders have a lot of important decisions to make. One key area they need to focus on is retaining the players they already have in-house. Right now, 17 Raiders players are set to hit the open market, and that doesn't even include securing a long-term deal for Max Crosby. With that in mind, let's take a look at some of the top free agents for the Raiders and whether or not I think they should bring them back. First up is safety Trayvon Merrick. In 2024, Merrick had one of his best seasons, starting in all 17 games and posting career highs with 104 tackles and 10 passes defended. His increased production and the fact that his best football may still be ahead of him make Merrick one of the top safeties available. His market value is estimated at $15.7 million per year, according to SpotTrack. It's a significant amount of money, but Merrick is a crucial piece of the defense, especially in the secondary, and I believe the Raiders should do whatever they can to bring him back. Next up is linebacker Robert Spillane, who has been one of the Raiders' standout linebackers in recent years. He's only gotten better with each season, and in 2024, he posted a career-high 158 tackles, along with 14 quarterback pressures, 2 sacks, and 2 interceptions. With defensive coordinator Patrick Graham returning, it makes perfect sense to keep Spillane on the roster. He's been a key contributor, and I think he should be a priority for the Raiders this offseason. I don't understand the criticism from some Raider fans who think Robert Spillane is overrated. He's been one of the most reliable defenders on this team, alongside Max Crosby over the past 2 seasons. In my opinion, he's a player you simply can't let go of. With a market value of $10 million per year, I wouldn't hesitate to pay that for him. If it were up to me, I'd definitely bring back Robert Spillane. Next up is defensive end Malcolm Kunsey. This one is a little tougher to gauge. Kunsey showed a lot of potential in 2023, especially after AP took over, recording 8 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 11 starts. Unfortunately, he tore his ACL just a few days before the 2024 season, which sidelined him for the year. With all the upside in the world, the main concern is whether he'll be able to return to his previous level of production. His market value is around $20 million per year, which gives me some hesitation. If Kunsey is open to returning on a team-friendly deal and shows he's back to full strength, I'd love to bring him back. However, if he's looking for a big payday, I think the Raiders should let him walk. Now let's talk about K'Lavon Chaisson, a former first-round pick who joined the Raiders practice squad without much fanfare. But in just 1 season, he made the most of his opportunities, racking up 32 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and 33 quarterback pressures. Chaisson definitely impressed, and I'd love to see him return at the right price, which I think the Raiders could manage. After flourishing under Patrick Graham's system, he's a guy who could still have his best years ahead of him. He also provides solid depth on the defensive line, so bringing him back makes a lot of sense. Finally, we have Nate Hobbs, who has been a versatile and solid addition to the secondary, especially in the slot. Since being drafted by the Raiders, he's been reliable, but unfortunately, injuries have kept him sidelined for 17 games over the last 4 seasons. I'd love to bring Hobbs back, but we have to be realistic. We can't re-sign everyone. If he's willing to return for the right price, then great. Let him stay a Raider. But if not, I wouldn't mind seeing him walk. So, Raider Nation, what do you think? Which of these key free agents would you bring back? Who do you think is essential to this team's future? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time.